He never said much. He never had to. In a league built on personality, on brand, on the performance of greatness, Kawhi Leonard built his empire in almost total silence. And somehow, that made everything louder. The rings, the shots, the exits, the mystery. This is not a story about a player. This is a story about a ghost who became a legend and then vanished just when everyone needed him most. Let's go back to the beginning. Not the Spurs, not the ring. Before all of that, Moreno Valley, California. A kid watching his father work at a car wash. A kid who understood early, maybe too early, that the world does not owe you anything. Martin Leonard was shot and killed when Kawhi was 16 years old. 16. That kind of loss either breaks you or builds a wall around you so thick that nothing can ever get through again. For Kawhi, it built the wall. And for the rest of his career, nobody ever figured out how to climb it. He played college ball at San Diego State. Not Duke, not Kentucky, not the places that produce lottery picks like an assembly line. San Diego State. And he was quiet there too. Just played, just dominated, just did exactly what needed to be done and nothing more. When the Spurs took him 20th overall in 2011, most casual fans didn't know his name. That was fine. Kawhi wasn't playing for the casual fans. San Antonio, Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. This is where the mythology begins. Because what Popovich understood, what he saw before anyone else, was that this kid was not a role player waiting to emerge. He was a shutdown weapon waiting to be pointed at something. And the first time they pointed him at LeBron James in the 2014 finals, the entire basketball world felt the temperature drop. LeBron James, the king, the most physically dominant player of his generation, and Kawhi Leonard, a quiet 22-year-old, was his assignment. Think about that pressure for a second. Your team is counting on you. The world is watching, and your job is to follow LeBron James everywhere he goes and make his life miserable. Most people would crack. Kawhi didn't blink. He smothered LeBron. He played defense so suffocating, so precise, so relentlessly intelligent that the Spurs won the championship in 5 games, and Kawhi was named Finals MVP. 22 years old, and the entire league started asking the same question. Who is this guy? But here's what was already happening beneath the surface. Kawhi was not just a defensive savant. He was developing something far more dangerous. An offensive game so methodical, so unstoppable that it defied physics. The shot. If you've seen it, you already know. If you haven't, imagine a player catching the ball at the elbow, rising in slow motion, body perfectly balanced, huge hands palming the ball like it's a grapefruit, and then releasing it on a flat, confident arc that almost never misses. There's nothing flashy about it. That's what makes it terrifying. It just works every single time. By 2016, the league knew. By 2017, the conversations had shifted from is Kawhi good to is Kawhi the best player in the world? And that is when everything changed. That is when the tension that had been building for years finally reached its breaking point. The injury, 2017 to 18 season. A quad tendon issue that should have resolved in weeks turned into a season-long saga. But this wasn't just a medical story. This was a war. Kawhi's camp said he wasn't ready. The Spurs said he was. The franchise that had given him everything, that had shaped him into the player he was now publicly at odds with their own superstar. Popovich, the coach who never lost control of a situation, was openly frustrated. Kawhi missed 73 games. Whispers became headlines. Headlines became chaos. And when the season ended, everyone knew this marriage was over. The trade to Toronto felt, at the time, like a punishment, like The Raptors were a good team, a serious team, but nobody believed they could win a championship. This was a consolation prize dressed up as a fresh start. Or so everyone thought. And then the 2019 playoffs happened, and Kawhi Leonard showed the world exactly who he was. Round after round, he was the Raptors. Not just their best player. He was their will, their spine, their answer to every question the other team dared to ask. He guarded the opposing team's best player every night and then turned around and scored 30 points, night after night, without a single facial expression, without a single emotional reaction, just execution, just inevitability. And then came Game 7 against Philadelphia. If you don't know what happened, I need you to understand. This is one of the most singular moments in the history of basketball. Not just because of what happened, but because of how it happened, and who it happened to, and when. Series tied, Game 7, final seconds, Raptors down 1. Kawhi gets the ball on the right wing, drives, launches a running floater from the corner. The buzzer sounds, the ball hits the rim. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then it falls through. The building explodes. The city explodes. Kawhi doesn't move. He watches the ball drop, one fist clenched at his side, teammates swarming him, and his face is the same as it always is. Still, controlled, like he already knew. That shot went on to become one of the most replayed moments in basketball history, and it was just the beginning. The Raptors beat Milwaukee, beat Golden State, a dynastic Warriors team that had won 3 of the last 4 championships. Kawhi won the Finals MVP. Toronto won the championship, their first ever, and the man who delivered it to them was already on his way out the door. Because that is the other part of this story, the part that makes it complicated, the part that makes people angry. After 1 year, after delivering a city its greatest sports moment, Kawhi Leonard signed with the Los Angeles Clippers. He chose home, he chose the other LA team, and he walked away from the Raptors without a second look back. Was it calculated? Absolutely. Was it cold? Depends on how you look at it. Kawhi Leonard has never operated on sentiment. He operates on control, on self-preservation, on a ruthless understanding of his own value and exactly how he wants to spend it. Some people call that selfish, others call it the most honest thing a superstar has ever done. He never pretended to love Toronto. He just delivered for them, and then he moved on, and then the injury again. 2021 playoffs, ACL. The Clippers were this close, a chance at the finals, a chance to complete the story, and Kawhi crumpled to the floor in Game 4 against Utah, clutching his knee and disappeared again. Just like that, back into the silence. What followed was one of the most agonizing wait in recent basketball memory. 2 years, nearly 2 full seasons. Reports surfaced, disappeared, resurfaced. Is he coming back? Is he the same? Does anyone even know how to reach him? The Clippers, a franchise that had rebuilt around his presence, existed in a holding pattern while the league kept spinning without them. And when he finally returned, when Kawhi Leonard stepped back onto an NBA court, he was still him. Not fully, not yet, but still him. Still the quiet engine, still the hands, still the shot, still the defensive intensity that makes coaches breathe easier just knowing he's on the floor. The recovery has been slow, the questions haven't stopped, and neither has the scrutiny. Here's what I want you to sit with. Kawhi Leonard might be the most fascinating player of his generation, not because of what he says, but because of what he doesn't. He has never needed to perform greatness. He has never needed your validation. He won a championship in San Antonio. He won a championship in Toronto. He has been Finals MVP twice. He has been the best player on the floor in moments when the stakes were as high as they get. And through all of it, the trades, the injuries, the speculation, the silence, he has never once bent to the pressure of being who everyone else wanted him to be. That is either the most remarkable form of self-possession in professional sports, or it is armor. Armor built on grief and control and a childhood that ended too soon on a quiet street in Moreno Valley, California. Maybe it's both. Maybe for Kawhi, there's no difference. The final chapter hasn't been written. The question of whether he can stay healthy long enough to chase a 3rd ring, to cement himself beyond argument as one of the 5 best players of his era, that question is still open. The silence continues. The game goes on. And somewhere, Kawhi Leonard is working, quietly, deliberately, exactly like he always has. Drop a comment. Where do you rank Kawhi in the conversation? All-time great or the biggest what-if of his generation? I want to hear what you think.